Keep your eye out for a video today as well, talking about, it's quite a lot of confusion about like MyFitnessPal stuff. If any of you need to shoot off, shoot off. But if any of you want to talk to me about that now, talk to me about that now quickly. Because a lot of the nutrition stuff with MyFitnessPal is put the wrong goal in as the first bit of the parameter. And because the goal's wrong, it works out the calories wrong. So you've got to get that bit right first. And I've done a quick video on that, and I think you should have a look at that later on today. If weight management of any description, up, down, maintenance is your goal, that's where we always need to start. We've talked about the option 2 on there, which is the carb timing, but the carb timing is only really any good if you've not got that first bit right, okay? So, I mean, does anybody want to talk about that now? You don't have to, but I mean, I've got 5 minutes right now. No, you do?
I'm just, I'm struggling with like how much I'm moving in the day.
Right, well, you've got an Apple Watch, haven't you?
Yeah, no, it's terrible because I do the class. I go out on my bike,
right,
with the kids and stuff, and I'll probably go run around the block now or something. But you know, just that everyday footfall that you normally do.
But this is why it's so important at the moment to either make up that somewhere else, which is a pain for some people, but some people like. I mean, like, look, you got to think of it from your point of view, right? You guys are doing a lot, right? So that's massively more than what a lot of people are currently doing. A lot of people have just gone, well, screw it. And they're doing that's going out for a walk. They're going to come back to this in 3 or 4 months' time when it's all over and be like, oh my God, they're going to move in these classes. It'll kill them, right? But what you've got to think is, the prime example I would use is my Garmin tracks my steps and my distance each day. Yes. Now, like I used to say, Gemma, when I'm taking the kids to school and picking them up, I walk a fair distance to school and back. And my average daily step count's gone from 14,000 down to about 9.
Yeah.
That's still decent. I'm still getting 9,000 odd steps pretty easily. And that's just my day-to-day stuff. But 5,000 steps different a day is going to have an effect on how much exercise I technically am now doing. So you don't have to rush out and buy one of these, but you've got to look out and think, right, okay, so what was I doing before that I'm now not? And if it equates to a couple of 100 calories worth of it, and you can Google like how many steps worth how many calories, it will give you a rough idea. And then you need to make that change to your diet. Or you think, you know what, when the kids have gone to bed, I'm going to come back in the garage, get a skipping rope out and just blast out little short sets. On, a minute off, a minute on. You've got to do something to make up that difference.
I am doing that, but I'm knackered because I'm like doing like all exercise based things. So like now I'll do this, then I'll probably do a 10-mile bike ride later, right? Just to get what I used to be.
Yeah.
You know, because I'll be sitting at that kitchen table doing maths and English with kids. Okay. You're not moving, so I'm exercising, but I'm like killing myself off doing it.
I think it's hard because the easiest way to offset that is obviously to make a change to your energy intake. It's almost harder to burn more calories than it is to restrict ones that you're coming in. But this is what we've been talking about with somebody the first thing this morning was like, unless you know what that number is, how do you adjust it? I think I equated it eventually. I think she got it when we started to talk about, imagine your current account. You know, your current account, if that's very buoyant and it's got tons of money in it, it's never going to use your savings account. So if you think about your energy daily as being your current account and your fat stores as being your savings account, if there's plenty of energy or plenty of money in that current account, you're never going to go into that savings account. You're not going to take money out of that to spend when you can spend your normal stuff. What is easier to do is to spend more. Spend more. It's easier to not put as much in, isn't it? Right? So you were trying to use that analogy again. If you've got to spend all these calories, yes, you've got to go on a big bike ride, you've got to do all things. Whereas if you just pay yourself less, so you have less energy coming in, then it will start to use those stores. But
you ditch off the bacon sandwiches at lunch.
I would ditch the bacon. I would switch those for a nice
one-day sauce and stuff like that.
But like I say, it's honestly, I mean, look, it's hard because everybody is in different situations with their diet, how they eat. And it's not down to us to preach that. It's down to you to find which works for you. Carb timing is fantastic for people like you guys that now train at this time of the day. You've got it so much easier than those that have to train at 6 in the morning because you can actually plan a nice early breakfast at say 6, 7, 8 o'clock. You're
Yeah.
at 9:30, and then you can make the rest of your day progressively less and less through carbohydrate. But, and this is the bit you've got to get across, you can't just take that bit of info and think, oh, that's great, that's what I'm going to do, if you don't know how many calories are coming in. Because that formula only works when your daily calories are about where they need to be. Does that make sense? There's no when carb timing works, because if you're putting in 400 calories more each day, it don't matter what diet you're on. If you're putting 400 calories more each day in than your body needs, you're not going to lose weight, right? Or conversely, trying to put size on, sometimes I try to, if I'm not putting that extra fuel in each day, I'm not going to get any bigger, right? So I use MyFitnessPal because it makes me stick to those parameters. And then on the off times that I'm doing it, I know I'm roughly right, and that's when I'll do the part time. But it is a case of, it's how much you want it. I'm speaking to Adam Peaty tomorrow. I've got an interview with him, quite luckily, quite fortunate tomorrow. And I was chatting to him earlier in the week, and he takes in 8,000 calories a day when he's on his training. Right? So I'm going to talk to him about calories in, calories out. But I promise you, I'm 90% sure that he has to track that information himself. Even like the world's #1, double Olympic world record holder, he still has to put himself saying, well, that's what I want to do. That's what I need to do. If you want those goals, you have to put the work in.
It's hard at the minute though, isn't it? Because like you kind of revolve around meal times as well, because it's the only thing in the day.
It is, but you can say, this actually is a time when people have probably got more flexibility, more ability to choose better foods, more ability to take the dogs out or do exercise. So I'm not saying it's easy. You are going to have those choices when you've got the childcare, but outside of that, you've actually probably got more options, particularly how nice the weather's been, to get outside and just do a few bits. So it's not going to be mega easy, but there's a way of doing it, and you just need to find what works for you. But seriously, that calories, I talk to a guy every day, right? The first most important thing is finding an eating style that you can stick with long term. Okay, that is the absolute, whether it's Atkins, whether it's normal, whatever, that's the priority. Once you've found that, the next most important thing is calories in, calories out, right? After that, it's then carb timing. But if you don't get those first two right, the carb timing is just irrelevant. You might do it, but it would just be a fluke. Does that make sense?
I am doing my fitness, the food thing, the food app at the minute. I am inputting what I'm eating. A couple of things tip me over, but no, I don't drink. Okay. You think I don't booze?
Shut up there. Drink. Who said drink?
I don't drink. I've drank since Christmas.
Not drink? No, but honestly, it's like, look, you could say, well, I only have an issue when people's goals are to achieve this, but they eat and train like this. Right? But that's when it bugs me, because if you want what that person's got, you have to embrace what they do. You have to eat how they do. You have to train how they do. You're, wow, why don't I get those goals? When you don't get those goals, you don't get those results, rather, because you don't want it enough. Simple. There is no magic method to this. And it's great to speak to people like PT, and he's on there with Gaz, that ex-Special Forces guy, and they're both on the same interview tomorrow. And it's like, it's great because they're going to highlight that. It's about the work and the concentration you put in. That's what gets people to these places where people go, oh, yeah, I wish I could do that. I'm not saying to be at that level, but if that is where your goals are, if you're looking at people on bloody Instagram and other social media feeds that are at that level, you have to do what they do. There is no shortcut to it. They will make you feel as though there is, because that's why they get clicks. That's why they get likes. That's why people follow them. But ultimately, they have to train and they have to do a certain thing to get to that level. And they normally have to do it for years as well. So I have no issue with people going off and on it. That's fine. But if your goal is to achieve this, you have to put that work in.
Spence, do you find MyFitnessPal slightly under on calories? Because I found if I added a couple of...
Yeah, it's one of the things I was going to say. I use my Garmin. I know people use like kind of an Apple Watch. Apple Watch is a really simple way of doing it. But I tend to use what Garmin tells me and what MyFitnessPal tells me, and I kind of merge them two in the middle. And that's what this little 2-minute video talks about today that I'm going to put onto the main. It's like, there's a way that you can log on to something called a BMR calculator,
Yeah.
And that give you all of the more in-depth how many calories do you need, and you can compare to MyFitnessPal. Okay.
I found if I stick to theirs, I'm always like, I either end up with a bit of a binge afternoon at some point, whereas if I just add a couple of 100 calories to what they say, I don't need to binge. I don't need to eat extra.
I know what you mean.
The main for people on MyFitnessPal is, regardless if it's called a fitness app, it's not. It should be called My Weight Loss Pal, right?
Yeah.
Most people that go on that, and I would say 90% or more, are trying to lose weight, and they're doing it not necessarily through that much exercise. They're just trying to restrict their food. So it always go under because it wants you to lose weight. And it's like success is, oh, I lost 4 pounds or I lost 8 pounds on my fitness. That's how it goes. If you're using it as a more of a performance, which it can be used, and I imagine Adam uses something like that to track his calories, he's making sure he gets the right amounts of fuel in at the right time during the day. And that's just a very good way to draw your attention to it. I'm less bothered by the actual calories than I'm making sure I'm getting adequate energy supply in. So I don't care if you're 100 over, 100, 200 under and over. You know, it consistently up and down is fine. If you're consistently under, that's not great. If you're consistently over, it's not great. But a bit of flexibility is good.
Yeah.
But you've got to find it so it becomes so you only have to do it for, say,
You got to eat.
you want to do 2 or 3 weeks of it so you get really good at it and then start to get yourself off it. But most people come off it before the habit is built. You know, they're not on it enough. And that's what the big...
I'm on it.
And sorry, one last question. My premenstrual week, is it slightly less intensity exercise or slightly more calories or just a balance or just track it? Or
how you feel. Some people it doesn't really affect that much at all. Some people it has a huge effect on. And I would certainly, the biggest thing you need to look at is not look at stuff like what you actually physically look like in that week, because things like use it, and this is what I mean. If you do it over a period of weeks, you should find where you are. I know roughly I'm around about 3-7 calories a day now at the minute for my goal-ish, right? When I'm doing all my extra walks and things that I do, that pushes it over 4,000, 4,200. So I've had to make that 400-500 calorie saving because I know at the minute I'm just not as active. It's end of year accounts for us. I'm sat in an office probably 5 hours a day. That's a huge effect on that. So, but this is what I mean. I know what my baseline is. And from the baseline, I can then either decide to go up a bit or down a bit. But unless you know what that baseline is for you, guessing. And guessing gets guessing results. So you might get lucky, you might lose a bit of weight, you might put a bit of weight on. But if you do it little consistent movement, you'll soon build a habit that just lets you be about right. But I'm a massive fan of not being on this long term, but doing it to so for me, I wanted to get from 82 kilos to 85. I'm practically there now. That's why I've been using it, because it makes sure I get to where I want to be. Then I'll come off it and I'll perhaps only use it maybe every couple of weeks to make sure I'm still where I need to be. But to make that change, you have to do something that's making you, or like reminding you to do something different. And that's really all it's doing, is it's reminding me to eat more and eat at the times that I should be eating, not get to like 8 o'clock and think, well, 2,000 calories left. That's not a good time to be trying to find 2,000 calories, you know? Whereas if I know I've got to hit that during the day and by 1 o'clock I'm over half under it, I'm thinking, right, I need to step it up. So it's to remind me, but I wouldn't use it forever. I think it's not a healthy way to live your life. But the other way is, let's say you're going on holiday in 3 weeks' time, right? If you've been operating at this kind of roughly, you're happy where you kind of operate all year round, 3 weeks on FitnessPal, you will look significantly better than what you did when you were just coasting through the year. And think about that when it comes to athletes, when they're training at different times of the year, they won't always, I mean, Adam has built his Instagram following 500,000 followers because he looks great, right? But he'll openly say he doesn't look like that all year round. Cycles that. So you know, as he's coming to competition or when he's doing photo stuff, he can tweak his diet to get where he needs to be. You guys need to think of it a similar way. You need to operate comfortably all year round because it's not important. And then perhaps when you have a couple of special occasions, you think, oh, I know I'm going to put a bit of weight on. I want to look better before I go. That's when you can start to think, okay, well, 3 weeks, I can make a slight adjustment. You know, the body's going to adjust to it. That's not got that balance. It makes it literally like this all year. Next, to try and help. And all you need to do is get to one which is quite comfortable, cruise, and then make these little adjustments up and down. Brilliant. Right? So like I say, I want to help people with that, but the ultimate thing is you have to find the eating style that works for you.
Yeah.
And then you have to then measure the calories. You don't, if you just want to be happy, normal, you know, if you're not bothered, great. Just look after your fit. And I still think fitness should be your absolute main priority, main driver.
That's the easy bit though, the fitness.
Well,
That's the easy bit for me.
With it, isn't it? You come in, you train, right?
And the eating style's constant.
It's got to be, yeah. You can't go on something for 2 weeks. Oh, what you mean, just a day?
No, it's not. I'm joking.
I wake up, maybe some mornings, and I'm kind of, like 3 in the morning. I think, right, while it's feeding, in the cupboard, grab a quick snack before I go back to bed. But no, I mean, seriously, it's like if your fitness is your main driver, your main priority, you want your nutrition to support your fitness.
Yeah.
I would still recommend stuff like MyFitnessPal, because if you're a couple 300 calories a day always under where you should be, that is purposely having a negative effect on your training. I guarantee it. Right? So you have to have that energy available, that when we smash these sessions, you've got that energy waiting to go. Right? This is why
I do feel a lot better changing my program a bit. I do feel more energized for the classes.
Training needs to have these peaks.
Yeah. Definitely notice it.
Muscle growth or muscle recovery only happens when you allow it to. Sadly, anything over the age of 20, 21, that happens at a less, less rate. This is why athletes go off the boil. But it's stuff like that. That's the problem. It's you've got to kind of think what works for me versus what is my goal. If your goal is just to be a bit healthier, a bit fitter, the nutrition is less important in terms of micromanaging it. But if your diet, and if your goal rather is to look a certain way for a certain event, you can't fluke it. You've got to get that right, So having a little look at it. But as much as, like I say, I don't like people fascinated on it. I don't want you becoming obsessed with calories. But if you don't know where you currently are, you have to start there. You just simply have to. There's no proven way to do it any other way. If you do it, it's fluke. As in, if you go on the Atkins, well, that's because it's cut out cakes and that was your big thing. I know everybody that's done well on some diet because it suits their eating style. I also know 100 people that have tried those diets that don't, because it doesn't suit their eating style. So I know people that don't like carbs really. So for them, an Atkins or a paleo would be easy because it's not what they eat anyway. But to put somebody on it who lives on bread, cereal, pasta and rice, they're going to want to shoot you within 2
I've got really horrendous migraines on the Atkins. I need a level of carbs in my diet.
I do. I eat probably 50, 60% carbs, but you've got to get it so that you are where you need to be, not what you think some guru has told you to be. Just because it works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But the biggest thing is that there has to be some restriction somewhere. Okay? Yeah. That's the takeaway. It doesn't matter what it is. Sadly, eat cake, crisps, drink all the time, and look like a cover model. You just can't. Yeah. They don't. You can. I follow like Ross Edgley. I don't know if you follow Ross Edgley. I imagine you do. You're female, so I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, he looks incredible. He doesn't have all of the stuff that he then does to maintain that, and he doesn't show you the pictures of him like now at the minute. If you follow his Instagram feed, he's in bulk mode. You're not seeing him at the moment. Do you know what I mean? He's got his vest on. He's coming out here, and you think he's going to show you the stuff he wants to show you. And I like the fact he shares the fact that you can quite clearly see he's putting some timber on, because people that are following him, they accept now that that is a part of what he does. Yeah. To be where he's absolutely shredded, running up a hill with a backpack on, that was him preparing for a photo shoot, right? So you can manage that very, very well. It's the same for some of the girls that you guys follow. They will go through these ups and downs. I would prefer you all just to be average way, and then a couple of times a year you know how to make that tweak rather than bulk drop.
I've got my bulk on at the minute.
Most people have got their bulk on.
I'm going to get on it.
That's the problem. All right? But that's why we've done that 3-week challenge. It's free. You can sign up for it, record your stats, do your fitness workout, how you're going to put your workout together, and then track your nutrition. Honestly, I don't want to go over it. It's funny. I feel like a broken record because that's all I can give you. But that's because it works. Right? The reason why we don't do it, the reason why we don't buy into stuff is because it's what people do to sell books or to make you buy this or to do that. you don't need it. You just need to think, do the training that you guys do and find some level that you're happy with of restricting those, what people call treat foods. But, you know, you can't have it every day. You just can't. You can have it times a week, but you can't have it every day. You can't have it every day. You can have it a couple of times a week. But and again, that's all relative to what your goals are.
Yeah.
I have actually worked with people from literally brand new to top of the range, like sports people or fitness models. And it always boils down to how much you want something, right? It's not natural. It's not, well, this is this. I've known people that have got 2 or 3 kids that still look phenomenal and still work full time because they've made, and I don't think it's right. I'm not saying it is, and please don't think that I'm actually condoning this, but they've made what they look like their priority in their life. Now that's wrong to me, but they have done. That's why you see them looking the way that they look, right? Everything else is second place to what they're trying to do. And I know a male fitness model, he looks incredible, but when he had his first kid, he was in the gym every morning for an hour, and then he was in the gym for an hour every afternoon, and he just left his missus to get on with the kid because his priority was what he would like for his career. But he won't tell you that because that doesn't help him sell programs. He won't tell you that he needs 3 hours training every day because who can do 3 hours training every day? Yeah, I think this is the thing. If your goals and aspirations are to achieve something, pick somebody that you think, well, I can actually do that, not somebody that you just think, I mean, look, it's easy. I can open my Instagram account and it will be flooded with good-looking, ripped bodies. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But don't allow myself to think, well, I could get that. Because I think I do not want to spend 4 or 5 hours a day of my life training and then eating food that would bore the life out of me. Life is for living, so I put my fitness as my priority. But when I make a change, which was to get a bit more size on again, then I do turn to my fitness pal, and I accept it will take a little while to get there because I won't do it so religiously. But I'm happy with that because it falls within what I'm prepared to do versus what I'm looking for. Right? So always think about that. Think about how much you're prepared to put in versus what you think you want, and then adjust your goals. I want to live in £1 million house. It isn't going to happen. I'm not going to lie. Unless I win the lottery, it's just not. I like to buy Garmin watches and shit like that instead. So it's just not going to work, right?
Did you get your Garmin watch that you wanted?
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Don't tell anybody. I accidentally broke my watch, so I had to buy it. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like I say, you've got to set your goals based on what you can A, think you can actually achieve, and B, what you want to. Do you want to put yourself through all that? Why not just be a bit happier, focus on your fitness, tweak the nutrition a bit so you're still having it when you want it, but not as often. You'll see. But this is what I mean. People don't. They have these sudden goals of right, that's it. I'm really fat or whatever. I'm going to be on it, and they're on it for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they're off it because it was too difficult. Make it something easier to stick to and accept that for the next 12 months, it's going to take you that long to get you where you want to be. Because you would do it for things like buying a house. You don't just magic up the money to buy a big house. You have to stay in it, pay your mortgage off, do what you need to do, gradually start to move up, don't you? People need to apply that to how they think about themselves. It's a gradual process.
Ben,
yes.
How do you counteract if you're on medication like steroids? Because I'm on steroids and that's making me put weight on. So how can I counteract that?
Depending on which steroid it is, will depend on whether it's actually putting your weight on. It is exactly the same as when I stopped smoking years ago. I was told by everybody, well, yeah, you stop smoking, you put weight on. I stopped smoking and I said, no, I ain't going to put weight on because I'm going to think if I'm going to make that thing to make myself healthier, I'm not going to replace one thing with something else. So I purposely made sure that I trained and did it to not put weight on. Now, it's not as simple as that with steroids because its job is to actually help the body to get more muscular, bigger. It does boil down to calories in, calories out, Trace.
Okay.
Right. So basically, this is what I mean. We've got to find your set point. So what is your average? So do 2 or 3 weeks of where you think, right, that's the calories I'm going to eat. And what happens from that result, you can then make the tweak. But if you don't stick with something consistently for 3 or 4 weeks, you're not going to know whether it's right. And just asking a little computer that you spent 30 seconds putting your details into is probably not going to be correct, right? You need to do it where you think, I would take what it gives you, stick with it for 3 weeks, then do the checks, do your weight, do your photo, do your whatever, see if you've made any changes, and then how those changes have happened, you then make the adjustment. So if you've put a bit of weight on, well, then you know you need to bring the calories down a bit, but only bringing it down by 100, 150 calories a day, or conversely increasing it by a little bit. People do this seesaw, like on, off. The body wants to be here, right? Where it wants to live its life. But the more people push this way, the more it wants to to where you are, right? So try and think about tracking your progress. This is why we chose 3 weeks. That's a minimum time to see a change, right? 3 weeks, measure yourself, weigh yourself, take your photos, see, did it make any difference? No, then you need to make a progress. I would rather you do that and 6 months down the line have thought, well, I don't even need to check it anymore because I just know I'm where I need to be now. And that's all. That is your goal, really, is to get it where you don't have to be doing this. You've made that change gradually enough that it feels natural to be in that place. Your activity equals your energy in. Happy. I honestly think so much of it comes down to comparison. People are comparing themselves against the 1% in the world, but because of the way that social media works, it looks like it's a lot more than 1% because you see it every single day. You used to see it in magazines and billboards, but you weren't bombarded by it. You are. It's now looked as though fitness and ripped and all this. It looks like it's the norm. It's not. They are on your feed because they are the 1% and they are the most popular. Don't for 1 minute think it's achievable for most people in terms of what you are prepared to sacrifice to get there.
Yeah.
All right. So I think so much of it is comparison. Look at you, look at what you're able to do. It's easy to get you to healthy. It's hard for you to look to something that's not really real anyway.
But it's just being realistic with it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I shared a video yesterday onto the page by a guy called Prince EA. He's a bit of a motivational kind of guy, and it's about how they reckon now 2,000 times a day people are checking their phones. 2,000 times a day.
I read that.
Literally, even if you're just doing this and putting it back in your pocket.
Yeah. Well, I can believe that.
And so much of it, you're clicking onto a social feed to check something, and as you're doing it, you're consciously looking at these pictures and going, "That's not me. That's not me. That's not me." I don't care what you say. If you're bombarded by things that look amazing, it will make you feel like crap, right? I'm at the point where I've now got my 6-pack back and I've put some kilos on. I still don't think I'm comfortable enough to start walking around the gym saying, "Look at me," and it still makes me feel like crap. And I'm 47. And I could walk into a swimming pool tomorrow and I guarantee I'll be in that top 5%. I guarantee it. Unless I'm going to Petey's pool, obviously. But you go to a general swimming pool, you go to a general beach, I would be in for my age category, that top 5%. I guarantee it. Doesn't stop me feeling the way I feel when I look at somebody else's physique. I still look and think, "Oh, God, I wish I was that." No, I don't wish that because I don't want to spend my life not having a life. I want to enjoy what I've still got. And I think that is probably the biggest thing that legs people up, is they are constantly, either consciously or subconsciously, comparing themselves to people which they think they should be able to achieve to. There's nothing wrong with having goals, but body goals, no. Set yourself physical goals, set yourself healthy goals, yes, do that. Be that person, because then normally your physique will follow suit. Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny. I'll talk to Adam tomorrow about this. It's like he looks the way he looks because of what he does. In 6-pack, big shoulders and a chest because he spends all day being an athlete. That's why he looks the way he looks. Right? You can't pick out that picture and go, "Oh yeah, being like the pool and do half hour in the pool and do a bit of weight. So how come I don't look like Adam anymore?" It's like, you know what I mean? You're just going to say he's slap. That's why I want to interview him, and he's openly said, "I'll definitely talk about how much he has to work and how much he struggles." I want people to understand that. All right.
I think my biggest problem is my comparison isn't with other people. It's the fact that in my 20s, I worked with the rugby team and I worked as a fitness instructor. So I was actually exercising that 6 or 7 hours a day.
But you're not now.
But I'm not now, and I'm also 42 instead of 26. So that's when I look in the mirror. That is my comparison myself.
Thinking about be healthy. More and more over 12 months, it's going to be all about health. We had 4 paramedics that we were speaking to, military, and they were saying to us, and it's on like Duratis's website on his podcast. Really interesting read. All the media stuff you're seeing about COVID-19, not exactly how it's coming through. Right? These people have got pre-existing diseases. They're obese. They've got type 2 diabetes. They've got asthma. They've got cardio diseases. These are the ones that are not coming out of hospital. The ones that are getting it that are young and healthy are bouncing back from it. It's not saying it's not serious, it is, but more priority should be put on people's health. And they basically said the more robust you are by being physically fit and healthy, the less diseases like this are actually affecting people. Regardless of what the media are picking out the odd one or two, the majority, 99% of people, shouldn't be worrying about this. The 1% that aren't. But what they're saying is it is so much more evident now that if they've not got a like a pre-existing proper health problem, obesity was the next one down that was making people die from this.
Yeah, that's what
Nothing else after this comes out. I really hope that evidence gets flooded into the market so people think, damn, you know, it's another reason to get fit and healthy. But put it on your health rather than the way you look.
Yeah.
You get better, but nutrition is something that you've got to find your own way on that a little bit. All right?
Thank you.
Catch you later, guys. Have a very nice rest of your day. Enjoy the
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday.
Yeah, great. Bye. See you later.